Hi, I'm Sean Manaher. Welcome to the Author Hangout. I'm your host of the Author Hangout, which is brought to you by bookmarketingtools.com, which aims to equip authors like you with the right tools, education, and community to help you market your books better. And today we are greeted and have guest Randy Ingermanson on the show today. He's talking about selling more books through email marketing, and we're really glad that he's on the show. Randy is actually the author of fiction. He wrote the book actually on fiction writing for dummies, writing fiction for dummies, and we're really glad that you're on the show today, Randy. Thanks.
Thanks for having me on today, Sean.
And audience, you know how it goes. We're looking to connect with you through the comments on Google+, on Twitter, using the hashtag #TheAuthorHangout. It's fast and furious. We have more questions than our 30-minute time will allot us. But make sure if you have a comment, you have a question, we already have some coming through, that you put it in Google+, that you use Twitter and use the hashtag the Author Hangout so that we can connect with you there. And getting things kicked off, the Author Hangout, we have 3 calls to action for you today. The first one is that we want you to sign up and connect with Randy. He has a great list of authors that he's building, has built over time, and you should connect with him. The second one relates to a product that we're going to talk about for Randy. And the third one, we're going to be talking about at the very end, bookmarketingtools.com one last time. So let's get into it right away, Randy. The first question I wanted to ask is, what does it mean to be a strategic author?
Well, there's really 3 problems that we have to solve as authors. The first problem is that nobody knows we exist. Okay, the second problem is nobody cares about us, and the third one is that nobody wants our book. And those are problems, but they all have solutions. So I really should say nobody knows you exist yet, nobody cares about you yet, and nobody wants your book yet. And the purpose of marketing strategically is to solve all 3 of those problems. Now, how do we do that? We have to do that actually in order. And so there are 3 distinct phases for marketing. The first one is what we call the attract phase. Somebody doesn't know you exist, and then somehow or another they come to know that you do exist. Okay, that has now solved the first problem. Now we don't need to get into details about how they actually learn you exist. All we care about is that somehow, by hook or by crook, they discover that you do exist. But that's not enough. They still have to care you exist, and they still have to want your book. So the second problem is that you need to make them care that you exist. They need to care about you and what you have, and that process is called the engagement process, where they come to know who you are, know what you stand for, know what you can do, and know that they might someday possibly want what you have. But that's still not enough, because you still have to persuade them to buy your book or whatever it is that you're selling. So the third stage is what we call conversion. You need to persuade them on a particular day at a particular time to pull out their credit card, type it in, and buy what you got. Okay, that is the conversion phase. Now those have to happen in order. You cannot just attract somebody here and then maybe engage somebody else over there and then convert someone else here. It doesn't happen that way. You have to take a single person, a single potential customer, first attract them so they know who you are, second engage them so that they care about you, and then third convert them so that they actually buy your book. If you do not have a strategy that's designed to do all 3 of those stages, attract, engage, and convert, then you don't have a marketing plan. You have no marketing at all, in fact. Your machine is broken. And so the entire goal of strategic marketing is to figure out how you're going to first attract people, then engage them, and then convert them.
And then with that, Randy, we're talking about email marketing. We're talking about selling books with email marketing. And I just want to point this out. Sally Sue brings up a great comment. Actually, it's a challenge for us today. Said, "Hi, everybody. I'm a stubborn resistor to email marketing. Boo, hiss. And have no tool on my website. WordPress.com doesn't allow them. Only can use .org to gather email addresses. Who can convince me otherwise, Randy? The contest begins in 10 minutes." So we have the challenge is that figuring out and convincing Sally that email marketing is worth doing. And how does email marketing play itself into the strategies that you were just talking about?
Okay, Sally, that is a terrific question. I couldn't have come up with a better question myself if we planned this. Here's the thing. I know a lot of you guys are familiar with blogs, right? And one of the world's greatest bloggers is Darren Rouse at ProBlogger.net. Okay, the guy has a business in excess of $1 million a year. He's a really, really good blogger. So almost a year ago, he did a blog post titled, "What's Social Media Good For?" I think it was the June 26 or 27 of last year, his blog post. You can check it out. I will give you the short version of it here. Darren had recently released a product that he wanted to sell on his site. It was for bloggers. It was about blogging. And so he wanted people to buy it. Now, Darren, he's a blogger, so of course he announced it on his blog. He's also deeply connected with social media, so he tweeted about it, he Facebooked about it, he did Pinterest things on it, I think he probably had some LinkedIn stuff, he had an email list, okay, and he tracked very carefully where did the sales actually come from. That is, he tracked the conversion phase of this process. And here's what he found. And he also, of course, has affiliates. So he has people who get paid a certain percentage when they refer a sale to him. He found that 3% of his total sales came from his affiliates. 3%. Okay. He found that another 3% of his sales came from all of his social media efforts combined. So Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, everything he was doing netted him 3% of his sales. Now, he's a blogger, so of course he announced this product on his blog. 7% of his sales came from his blog posts. 7%. This is the greatest blogger in the world. He's the pro blogger guy, and only 7% of his sales came from his blog. Okay, those of you who can subtract, 87% of his sales came from email. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that's incredible.
Remarkable?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I may have just convinced you. I think I've answered the question fairly. The reason you should do set up an email list is because it works fantastically better than anything else at the third step in the marketing process, which is conversion.
And in getting that, and I think we understand that conversion is going to be an important part of that. What Kevin is asking, actually, he has a question here. It's a great question. He's focused on the attract part. Where do we find that initial audience?
Okay, that's a very good question, and the answer is that different people find it in different places. Some people find that Facebook works fantastically well for attracting people, and then they just funnel those to their website where they will sign up for their email list, or you can actually get people to sign up for your email list on Facebook. Some people find that Twitter is a great way to attract people. Some people find that their website works great. Some people find that blogging works great, and I recommend that if you blog, that you put it on your website, so that and there's various reasons for that. All of those are great at attracting people. So if I'm sure you guys have probably talked about SEO in the past, search engine optimization. That is one of my main ways of attracting people to my website, where they then have an opportunity to sign up for my email list. But attraction is whatever works for you. There's many, many different ways you can do it, and I call those tactics. So any tool that you use, whether it's social media, Twitter, Pinterest, whatever, an email list, anything like that is a specific tactic, and the idea is that you take these tactics and you mix and match them so that they make a machine. Mm-hmm. And all you have to do is ensure that you have tactics that will attract people, other tactics that will engage people, and other tactics that will convert them. Or in some cases, some tactics are useful for attracting and engaging, and in some cases even converting. Okay, a blog can work for all three of those. But we are not all created the same way. We're all different. Okay, some people absolutely hate Twitter. It would be bad for them to be forced to use Twitter as an attraction tactic because they don't like it. They're not going to do well at it. You should choose the tactics that work well for you, but you should also choose tactics that are effective. And so you need to kind of balance out what's effective and I like, and find the right mix for you. We're all different, so the mix is going to be different for most of us, but that's okay.
All right. And Sally brings up another good question I'm going to pull up here. That is, it's a big question, I think. I can't get email addresses from buyers from Amazon Smashwords, can I?
No, you cannot. That is unfortunate, but you can't.
Is there a way? What about in the book? Can they put something in the book to draw them, or is there another way?
Absolutely, and for those of you who are indie authors, so you're acting as your own publisher, working on Amazon or Smashwords or Nook Press. Here's what I do at the end of my ebooks. First thing I want to do is I want to get them to buy the next book in the series. So as soon as they have finished the book and they flip the page, I have a page titled "Continue the Adventure." And it has a link direct to the sales page for the next book that I want them to buy. I don't give them a list of every book that I have available. That's giving them too many choices. I pick what book do I want them to buy, and I give them, the cover graphic for it, and a couple of sentences about what it is, and then a link to the appropriate sales page. Now, there's an issue there. Do you want to get into this in detail?
Yeah, and one of the things that kind of pile on to you, Randy, is that really people are like, okay, now how do you start this up? How do you get this train moving? You got some people attracted. What's the whole kind of nuts and bolts? Let's talk about that.
Right. So really, at the end of a book, you want to do three things. One of those is make the next sale. The next one is get them to write a review for you, and the next one is then to get their email list. And I put them in that order because the next sale, well, if you can get the next sale, why not do that? Now, there's a couple of issues there with linking to the sales page of the next book on Amazon. First of all, if you sold the book on Barnes & Noble, you don't want to be linking to Amazon. So you need to have multiple versions of your ebook, one for each retailer. So on the Amazon version, you would link to the Amazon page. On the Nook Press version, you would link to the Barnes & Noble page. But the problem is that iPads and iPhones, which a lot of people read their books on those devices, will not link directly to Amazon or Barnes & Noble. So, but you can do it indirectly through Bitly. So a Bitly link will take you indirectly to the appropriate retailer. Now, once you've made the pitch for them to buy your next book, and it really can be very short. If they're not going to buy your next book after having just finished this one, then you didn't. They are not in your target audience. Okay. But the next thing you want to do is ask them to do a review. So you give a link directly to the review page for the book that they just finished reading. And just say something like, look, you can really help me out a lot. The best way you can help an author is to write a review, and it doesn't have to be a long review, just a few words about how the book made you feel. And then give a link to it. Again, it has to be an indirect link because reviews matter. Reviews by customers on Amazon really matter a lot. Okay, then the third thing is give a short bio of yourself, really trying to capture who you are, and then at the bottom say, if you'd like to be notified when my next book comes out, click here to my website and sign up for my email list. And make sure that on the page you refer people to, there is a nice, prominent sign-up box for your email list in the upper right corner, because that's the optimal place for it, is the upper right corner. And then be sure that it is all connected up correctly to your email provider.
And what with that quick pause, I do want to take a pause for a second for one thing I want to pull out here. Christy Foreman, I just want to say I'm thoroughly encouraged by the work you are doing. You come on the Author Hangout, I think, every episode. And I want to encourage you, but also others, that what you're doing is you're watching the show, you're learning from the show, and then you're applying the work. And so I've seen the progress that you've been making, and I just want to encourage you, Christy, keep going. The things that Randy's talking about, building an email list, I know it's going to upset the apple cart, so to speak, in your entire way you do things, and maybe on your website you're going to have to change some things. But as an encouragement, I just want to say you're doing awesome, and keep that up. And for other authors, as you're looking at self-publishing and should I do this, should I do an email list, should I do, get on Twitter or Facebook, do it. And it does take one step at a time. One of the questions I did want to ask you, Randy, is how long has it taken you to build your email list that you currently have?
I started it about 9.5 years ago. So I started, I guess, really in the spring of 2005.
Yeah. And that was probably overnight success, right? I mean, immediately you probably went from 0 to, I don't know, you have over 7,000 authors on your list now. So that was just within that first month, right?
It was pretty much an overnight success. Yeah, I think my first month I had about 500 subscribers already to it. But I had a bit of a running start because I was consistently hanging out on writers' email loops for a long time before that, and so I had built a name and a reputation. I'd already started teaching fiction writing at conferences, and that's how I knew that an email list about how to write fiction would be successful, because people kept telling me, wow, I really like what you have to teach. You're really excited about it, and you present it in a way I can understand it. You make it simple. So I already knew it would work, and all I had to do then was to sort of call in my contacts and let people know I'm about to start this new venture. And people, people came running to sign up for it. But then, once I started executing, it took off on its own, because one of my principles of an email list is every month it's my best stuff. Okay, I have this theory that you give people your gold, okay, for free. Give people your absolute best every month. Maybe it's not all of your gold, maybe it's just some of your gold, but the quality, it has to be your best quality stuff. You never just sort of mail it in. Okay, and I think that's one of the reasons that my easing has been successful, is that every month is the best I can do that particular month. Now, some months I'm just not as on as other months, but I do give it 100% every single time. I can't think of any month where I ever just sort of says, I'll just take it easy this month.
Yeah,
I think that's a key part of it.
And talking about that monthly, and I believe it is, you email out monthly, is it?
Every month. It's the first Tuesday of every month, unless it's my wife's birthday like it was this time.
And so everybody, here's your call to action: is go to advancedfictionwriting.com. On the right-hand side, you're going to see a sign-up button. You're going to get signed up and enrolled with Randy's email list, and I think it's worthwhile for you guys to go and take a look at that. So that's your call to action. And with that, when we're talking about email platforms and kind of the tools of the trade behind the scenes, some people are saying, recommending different, MailChimp, Aweber, Constant Contact. Those are all options out there. Which do you use, and which do you recommend?
I recently switched to MailChimp. And the reason I've switched to MailChimp is that they seem to have the best deliverability statistics in the industry. Because we have a problem with email, which is that we all get way too much of it, and a lot of what we get is spam. Okay, MailChimp, it is almost impossible if you're using MailChimp to be spamming your users, because they are so tight on making sure that you do everything by the book legally. And therefore, all the internet service providers deliver their mail at very high rates. It's like 99+%, because they trust and respect MailChimp. They know MailChimp is working really hard to keep the spammers out. And so if you do everything MailChimp makes you do, you almost can't spam, and you really want high deliverability rates. They've also just got good tools for putting together your emails and for sending them out. They're just very good, really excellent.
In putting together an email, can you kind of give us, what's the structure of the things that somebody's going to have to wrestle through, and also kind of tailored with that, what content are you actually sending out to your readers?
Okay, well, I wear two hats because I'm a novelist, okay, but I'm also a nonfiction writer. I teach about the craft and marketing of fiction, and that's a nonfiction subject. So if you're a nonfiction person, what I recommend is what I actually do, which is to send a regular email, and mine is what I call the Advanced Fiction Writing e-zine, and it's on the craft and marketing of fiction, and it's very clear what you're going to get when you sign up for it. Every month you're going to get one column on organization, just how to run your life. You're going to get one column on craft, how to write your fiction, and another craft on marketing, or another column on marketing. So that's the core of my email list. And my e-zine, every issue is huge. I expect that very few people actually read the whole thing cover to cover because it's big. It's thousands and thousands of words. But I expect that there's going to be something for everyone in each issue. Okay. Now, if you're doing nonfiction, I just highly recommend that you do something, pick some small topic every month and do a good job at delivering something new on that. Now, what about for fiction? If you're a novelist, you really don't want to be telling your fans how to write fiction, right? That would be a dumb thing to do. Because what you're doing there is you're marketing to your competition, not to your customers. So what can you possibly give your fans in a regular email list? There's not a whole lot. You might be able to give them a short story or something, and that could be an effective way to market your work. But what I recommend is that you just send people an email when you have something new or when you have a special deal on your existing books. So, like if you're running a 99-cent special on Amazon this week, let your people know. They are your fans, right? They want to know about your novels. They want to get a good deal. If you have a new book coming out, let them know. But if you have nothing to say, then don't say it. That's my own theory on email marketing for fiction. For nonfiction, I try to be very regular, get something out every month that's of high value to people, because it's really a free sample of the products that I sell on my website. And when you give someone a free sample and it's your gold, they're going to look at it and go, wow, he's giving this away for free? I bet you the stuff that he sells is even better. Now, that's not, I'll tell you, it's not actually the case. The stuff that I sell is the same quality as the stuff that I give away for free. It's just different stuff. So if you want to learn everything I have to teach, you're going to get some of it for free and some of it you have to pay for. That's just, I think that's a sound marketing principle, but it's the same quality. I give it my best whether I'm selling it or whether I'm giving it away for free.
And what's the psychology behind giving something away free? We see that a lot. Is it getting old, or is it still working?
Free, I think, really works very well both with fiction and with nonfiction. And the reason is it removes the obstacles to that conversion phase. Okay, it's easy to attract someone to your website because it costs them nothing to click on a Google link and come to your site. It costs them nothing to read your, you know, if you've got an article on your site or a blog or something. It doesn't. It just costs them their time. But if they're going to actually buy one of your products, that costs them something, and most people don't want to do that. I don't. We're all very, very resistant to attempts to get us to pull out our wallet and type in a credit card. You know, if we weren't, you know, because we're inundated with, you know, like 1,500 marketing messages per day is what the average American sees. We're very resistant to that. You know, we have a strong immune system to advertising. But when someone has something and they're giving it for free, it tells us, first of all, that they believe in it, right? Because they believe in themselves, that they've got something worth giving away for free, and obviously that, you know, they believe in the things that they're selling enough to give something for free. But it removes that barrier. You know, it removes the speed bumps to trying it out. And if you try something out and you don't like it, you're not going to be angry, right? If you get a freebie on Amazon and you read the first 8 pages and you realize, oh, this is just not what I wanted, you're not mad at the author. You're not going to write an angry review about it. But if it is what you wanted, then you're happy and you're going to want to read more of what they have, and that totally makes sense to me. And if it turns out that you're one of the, you're exactly in the target audience for that book, you're going to tell all your friends.
Sure, sure.
So I think is a great strategy.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, Randy, this has been really fast. We got people that are completely disagreeing with you. Well, as Kevin, he says you're marketing to competition. What you said is he absolutely disagrees. So what we can do is take that comment off and go and answer that after the show, if you would, Kevin. Sure. He'll take care of that. But the show is wrapping up quick. I did want to ask you something about. Tell me about Facebook likes and why are they important to your author marketing in that acquisition phase?
Oh, that's a good question. We could talk for a long time about whether Facebook actually has any value or not. Because I have friends who believe Facebook is just the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's wonderful. And so, naturally, I'm an analytical kind of a guy. You know, I have a PhD in theoretical physics. I like to understand how things work. So I just asked three simple questions. What is it you're trying to achieve with Facebook? Okay. Secondly, how, in principle, would you measure whether you're actually achieving that or not? And third, what are the results of the measurements you have done on that? So how do you know that it did work? And it's just really hard to get Facebook aficionados to answer those questions. You know, they want to talk about, engaging their readers, and I can understand engagement is good, and entering into the conversation, but at some point, any sort of a marketing strategy needs to get to that conversion stage, and I want to understand how Facebook fits into that strategy. So if you go looking for me to see, does Randy have an advanced fiction writing Facebook page? I don't. I just have my website. So I don't care if people like me, if Facebook like me. Now I have about 3,000 friends or so, and I just sort of accept anyone who wants to friend me who doesn't look like they're a spammer or something. But I don't consider, Facebook is not part of my strategy. So when people tell you that it's just imperative, if you want to make any money at all, or get published, that you must be on Facebook, that's not true. I'm a counterexample. And my publisher had no problem at all with that fact, because I didn't highlight it. I says, here's what we are going to do when we launch my book. And they go, okay, that sounds good to me. You make that happen. And I did make it happen.
Yeah. And I think the point in all of this and what you're saying is that you do have the funnel, as has been said in the comments, and that sales funnel, and for wherever you acquire them, the real meat of it is making sure that you get them into an email list so that you can sell directly to them. And you're living proof, which is great, because a lot of people say, well, this doesn't work for nonfiction and this works for fiction, but you're a great example of somebody who's sitting on both sides of the world there.
Yes, I know that email works excellently for both nonfiction, because I've done it, and for fiction, because I've done it. Now, let me just say that with fiction, you don't. It doesn't have to be your email list. It can be paid advertising. So there are numerous email lists that will sell you, a day's worth of ads. BookBub is sort of the premier one. E-Reader News Today. There's Book Gorilla. There's Pixel of Ink. There's probably dozens of these that will take an ad for your book, and those work extremely well, some of them. BookBub is the king. I think they just got some venture capital for like $3.8 million. There's a reason for that. It's because they work really, really well. So it doesn't have to be just your email list, but your email list you have complete control over. BookBub is very hard to get into these days. They're quite stringent in their requirements, and they're also getting expensive.
Yeah. And with that, Randy, our time is up, but everybody don't go away right away. Audience number one, you guys have been incredible. I really appreciate the comments, questions, feedback that you've all been putting through today on Google+. Really good, and we're going to continue to answer those questions throughout. Randy, I did want to give you a couple minutes to talk
Sure.
about where folks can find and what call to action are you wanting to leave with them today?
Check out my website at advancedfictionwriting.com. You can just Google how to write a novel. I'm usually number 1 or 2 on the results for that, or writing a novel, anything like that. You should be able to find me very quickly. Check me out. Sign up for my e-zine if it seems appealing to you. Subscribe to my blog, and we'll continue the conversation there.
All right, great. Thank you, Randy. And everybody, as you leave, bookmarketingtools.com recently launched a tool that allows you to submit your ebooks for free on the locations, a lot of the locations that Randy was talking about. And so if you're looking for a tool that's going to quickly and easily allow you to submit your book for free during the free promotion period that you may be advertising it that way, take a look at bookmarketingtools.com. Under our tools section that will allow you to get to the free ebook submit, and we're going to post a link for that very shortly here. Take a look at that. Also, bookmarketingtools.com, we got a free marketing checklist. If you're looking to market your ebook, we'll help you there with that checklist. Again, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Randy, for being on the show. Until next time, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Sean.